it's amazing the things that we believe kind of because we just heard about them rather than kind of science. It's like, well, we need to eat 6 square meals, like small meals all throughout the day, spread throughout 6 to 8 meals. And it's like, where did that come from? It came from the dietitians that said, well, if you want to balance your hormones and you want to lower your blood sugar and keep it steady throughout the day, let's feed it, feed it, feed it, feed it, feed it, rather than feed it, let your body relax, give your pancreas a break so that the insulin can recover, and then maybe a second meal. But you really don't need more than that.
Yeah, yeah. And it's not just that. Since I'm in this world of the bodybuilding community, I see that they are also influencers on this type of diet because they're eating so low fat diets and so high carb diets that they need to eat a lot of food to achieve the amount of calories they need to sustain that, right? And the only way to do that is eating every 3 hours. So that's another thing. So people will think, well, if that guy has that great body and he eats three meals every 3 hours, I'll do the same thing, right? But wait, hold on. Why is he eating and how is he using that? Without getting into how unhealthy he might be in the inside, right? Just looking at the general things that you can see from the outside.
Well,
and, yeah, go ahead.
In the bodybuilding world, it's so funny because you got these bras out there that say, well, come through my program and you'll look like me. And I hate that, Rafael. If I can say that out loud, I can. It's my show. I hate that because it kind of gives the wrong impression that all it takes is diet and working out a certain way and blah, 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 and you look that way. No, there's a lot of genetic components. Like you said 7 years ago, you really weren't into fitness and diet at all, and now you are, and look at your body, but you probably had some genetics that maybe helped with that, along with the hard work. I'm not trying to discount the hard work that goes into making your body look that way, but it just seems to me there's a lot of this bro science that says, well, just do exactly what I did and you'll look exactly like me. I will never have a six-pack. It's just not going to happen. Like at this age, at this point in my life, the way I've damaged my body, the insulin resistance, it would take a monumental effort to get even close to that. And I'm okay with that, by the way. Everybody has to pursue, guys, a six-pack. I know some girls have them too, but most guys want it. Girls just want to be toned and look good. But yeah, that kind of thing just irks me, man.
But it's yeah, again, you're right. It's what people see from the outside. The underlying variables that they don't see are playing a role. You mentioned one, genetics. The other one is hormonal, like variances in that person. So first of all, they might be taking something, or they might have a really good hormonal system. And that goes back to the same conversation. So insulin is one of them, right? So they actually leverage insulin usage to build the bodies they have.
Yes.
At the expense of something else. That's also causing problems down the line that they might catch up later. Like I felt it. I was under that diet. My body changed dramatically when I was doing the show, eating the raw diet that you mentioned. But I felt tired. My testosterone were like in the floor. And I was literally, hormonally speaking, I was a female. Because they were so low that I couldn't, I mean, it was not sustainable. Your body goes into too much stress that there's nothing else matters but fight that stress. And that comes where the cortisol enters the equation. So another thing that I noticed while mentioning my insulin level or my glucose levels, hence the insulin, is how stress affects that too. So we know now from many studies that if you have high cortisol levels, you're going to be less likely to burn fat because it's a process that goes hand to hand, right? And that right now in society, we have a continuous stress environment. We live constantly on a fight and flight stage. So either for work, for traffic, for all the commitments we have, like I have kids, I need to be running every single day against the clock in a rush all day long. And if we don't have a bend for that, there you go. That's my mom, my sister, and my kids. Yes. So it's a very hard situation for the regular Joe to fight because they don't know that stress is actually, we live in a society that empowers that gives you, encourages to be in that. You gotta be the hustle, you gotta keep working. that sleeping is for losers. You got to wake up at 4 in the morning and continue working until you can't anymore. That is just raising our cortisol level to a point that we cannot fight it back.
And that is a uniquely American thing, by the way, you guys. In Europe, they've got time off galore, where they take vacations, very much so. We don't really have it as a priority, and American culture really pushes that hard work ethic, and you never take a day off, and you go, 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 go all the time. I think that's really messed us up, not just cortisol, but a lot of things that directly impact all of your hormones.
Yeah, truly does. Yeah, I read about that they are kind of, by law, there's like 20 some days or something like that. I might be wrong, completely wrong here, but.
And in South America, Chile, I did a mission trip there many years ago when I was in college, many years ago. And I remember in the middle of the day, they would all just come home 2 o'clock in the afternoon. All the kids, all the parents, everybody would just come home from work, come home from school, and they would have this thing called once. And they would sit down at this table full of all these like treats and things, and they would sit around the table eating the treats, asking about how your day's going. And it would be this 3-hour block. Then they would go back to work, go back to school, and then come home. Like, I think that's beautiful to kind of put a pause in the middle of the day. Could you imagine culturally in America if everything shut down from like 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock every day, and that it made you come home and be with your family and talk about what's going on? How much lower could cortisol be? How much better could our lives be? That always stuck with me.
Yeah, and it's true. I see it on my kids. I mean, that was one of the things that I want to talk to you about today, because not just we as an adults don't know what to do, is that we're transferring that to the kids as well. I see that on my 11 years old. So she spends 8 hours and a half actually at school every day, and she gets back home and has to spend about 1 hour and 30 minutes or 2 hours doing homework. So by the time she goes to bed, it's 10, and she have to wake up at 6. So she already is sleeping 8 hours when she should be sleeping more. She's in full grown mode right now. And not just that, but the stress that I see on her, like she's not sad, but I guess, yeah, sad in some way that she has to go through all of that. Like it was a big change from elementary to what's now. And so we're creating a new society that's coming in. We're not teaching them that proper rest period, relax, lower your levels of cortisol, because they don't even know what it is. And well, imagine talking to a kid about, and I do, but most people don't, about meditation, right? So how if you feel stressed, sit down, breathe, like lower your hormones, calm down. Yeah. I try to tell my kids all the time, the things that I do might not work for them, but try them. Because it might help you. Like even the ice bath, you're doing that now. You're doing that challenge at this point. And I did it. My daughter tried. She was like, well, I like the feeling when you get in this cold, but I hate the pain after. Okay, well, don't do it anymore. Well, I never forced it again. Turns out that a couple of years ago, she started doing the cold bath, like the cold shower, by herself. I didn't even push her again. So I showed her the tool, explained what it was good, and then she started using it. Now, she started understanding, okay, if I'm stressed, my cortisol is going up, that's going to change my mood. She's going to change the way I see the world. It's going to change the way I see the challenges that I need to face. And eventually that's going to be also affecting the rest of your hormones. It's going to be increasing your insulin. It's going to be changing your progesterone. So it's going to be affecting the whole system there. And the sooner they see that, the better it will be for them in the future as far as making decisions and taking approaches to face life.
Real Good Foods is one of the fastest growing frozen food companies in the U.S. Everything they make is nutrient dense, high in protein, low in carbs, and made from real food ingredients. They make food for every occasion: breakfast sandwiches, poppers, enchiladas, entrees, and pizza. So whether you're on a keto diet, trying to cut back on your carbs, or just trying to eat healthier, they make super convenient and tasty options. RealGoodFoods.com and at Real Good Foods on social media.
Look, I think your approach is so good because you're not only talking to them about these things, you're living them. They watch So they see what daddy's doing. That's really curious. Your 11-year-old's very interested in the ice bath concept. I got to go, just got back from the biohacking conference, Dave Asprey's conference in Orlando, and he had the Morozco Forge, this really nice ice tank thing. I've got one on order, but it's still not here yet. So I remember popping in that thing at the conference. It was 35 degrees, controlled temperature. And I thought, okay, this will be nothing. And because I do ice baths here for an hour at home all the time. Love them. I get in there and they're like, well, you might only want to do it for like 1 or 2 minutes because it'll be too much. And of course, I get in there and I'm already down low, got my vagus nerve below the water. And they're like, you do ice baths already, don't you? I said, yeah, and I love this.
Yeah, the feeling is amazing.
How long can you go? I'm like, as long as you'll let me. I was in there like 6 minutes. And they were like, well, we have people waiting to get in. Can you please? It was like, I was enjoying it so much. But yeah. And I know that's a hormonal issue thing too, that I tend to run a little bit hotter. And I'm sure that as I continue down like this journey that I'm on with the sabbatical, that I will lose weight, and maybe there will be a switch where I won't be as hot, and maybe the cold baths will be a little more. But yeah, I mean, it's that initial shock when you get in, but then yeah, after a while, you just kind of go, this is nice.
Yeah, it won't hurt more than what it hurts at the beginning, and your body will adapt to it. But then it's just for how long your body can keep up that temperature. And I was listening to Dave Asprey not long ago, and he was talking about that one of the ways that he likes to make, well, this is a different conversation, but new mitochondria and make it stronger is to shock the body with cold.
Yes.
Either showers or environment. That way your body have to heat up, and any mitochondria that cannot keep up with that, it will actually be eaten out. It will be out, and then new one will come in.
And look, ancestrally, they would have popped into the snow or some old body of water, and they would have done this. And in fact, when I went to Italy a couple of years ago on Maria Emmerich's trip, about 2.5 years ago, they have these places where it's like a hot side and then a cold side, and they literally will bounce back and forth between the two to get that very thing you just mentioned, along with balancing hormones. There's just so many good benefits to making your body go to those extremes. We like to stay in a very comfortable room temperature, 72 degrees, control the lights, control the temperature, and that's not at all how we were built to.
Yeah, not at all.
Elements.
Yeah, and if you attach that with the nutrition, definitely we're not setting ourselves up to create a good hormonal balance. I was going to use that as a segue to mention that when I started the keto diet, and that was one of the things that I noticed, is testosterone improved right there, because now I was eating the healthy fats, saturated fats. We need that. So people demonize the fats, thinking that it's going to clog your arteries, it's just going to cause you heart attacks. But what about the hormonal balance? How much good fat do you need for healthy testosterone? My experience is more based on the male side, right? So I'm more familiar with how testosterone gets affected with the fat and the diet. And I experienced myself with, when I was telling you about that extended fast that I did, the longest I've done is 5 days. And I believe for me, for my purpose and my goals, that 3-day fast is what the range should be. Yeah. And I measure blood work before, blood work after, and I also measure DEXA scan before and after the fast.
Yes.
And what I saw there, and I have the numbers here to not mess it up, it was a big increase in the production of testosterone, or the free testosterone, and the total testosterone. So the numbers went, like, prior to the fast, literally the day I started the fast, and this is a 5-day fast, it went from 590 to 699. So it was 110 increase in testosterone, not eating anything for 5 days. So it resetted my body, had to produce that, and people don't understand maybe why.
Yes.
Because, yes, you are putting yourself under a stress, and your body have to react to fight that back. And the way it does is, I need to survive.
But we also think of stress as a negative thing, and we got to get out of our head. Stress can be negative if it's done to an extent that it's detrimental, but tiny amounts of stress, it's called hormesis, guys. Go look it up. When you put your body under hormetic stress, like the ice bath, that is a hormetic stress big time. In fact, I threw that at the girl and she's like, you're the first person that's ever called it that. That's interesting. Yes, it is that.